Good afternoon. Welcome back to the farm. It's Thursday and it's been a heck of a week. We've had storms, we've had the time change. I worked the poles for 16 hours on Tuesday. So I'm just now starting to get some stuff done. Actually, that's not true. I did get a couple of things done that I just forgot to record because I was scrambling to try and get stuff done while I was doing so much other stuff. But we have snow coming. So I've got about 3 days to get the cabbage harvested and get the garlic planted. So today we are working on those two projects. I need to turn the beds up for the garlic, and I also want to experiment with winter planting onion seed. I'm just going to broadcast it and see how that comes up in the spring. That thinning it would be a lot easier than trying to separate it. And if we have time, if we can get that done, it's kind of ominous looking, but that's in the opposite direction from where our weather comes. Our weather actually comes from that direction. So I think we'll be okay. And with any luck, I can actually plant the garlic this afternoon. But I've got an hour now. Let's see how much I can get done, and then I'll show you what I've already done this week. So that's those 4 beds turned or loosened up. I was very fortunate because Josh and Avery used my green stock this year and did pretty well with it. But when it was time to take it down for the winter, they weren't sure what to do with the soil. And I said, just dump them on the middle garden beds, which they've done. So now I've got all of these soil amendments in the soil here, which is going to really help it out. This bed, I can't see on the camera because the sun's too bright. This bed here I did not turn because I'm not planting anything in it right now. You want to try and keep your soil as covered as you can. So, like you may remember, I planted cover crop on all of these beds. Since I'm not putting anything in this bed right now, I just want to leave this cover crop on to protect the soil. For the potato beds and the garlic that I get planted here sooner rather than later, I do have straw bales to spread out on top of it, and that will protect that for the winter. I don't want to do it today and probably not tomorrow because the wind is so fierce today that I would be worried that it would just blow it all away. So we're going to leave that and we'll put that down once everything's planted and things die down. These beds, even the ones that I didn't think would take, did end up taking. My only concern is these grasses. I can't remember what kind of grass it is, if it's oat or if it's rye. All of this stuff I thought would have died off by now. We've had enough frost that I would have thought that would have killed it, but it hasn't. So I'm worried that this may be a problem come spring, but apologies to future Stephanie, that's going to be her problem. All right, it should only take me 10 minutes to harvest all of these cabbages, so let's get them stuffed. guys want to go in the garden? You can go in the garden. Hello, pretty. Come on. Come on. Chook, chook. Chook, chook, chook. Chook, chook, chook. Come on, chook, chooks. Chook, chook, chook. Chook, chook, chook. Well, they're being stubborn. But I'm leaving this open now so they can come through and root around and see what they want to find. Because that's it. Except for planting the garlic, the garden is officially done. So we just have to put hoses away and clean up tools, and then that's it for the year. Let me show you real quick what we got up to the last few days. The chicken tractor took another tumble the day I was overworking the poles, because of course I hadn't had a chance to nail it down yet. So we have taken care of that. We've got it all in place now and nailed down and not leveled out, but at least kind of evened out. I'm not worried about the gaps underneath because we're not trying to keep anything inside it or outside of it. We just want to give them some shelter. We've got another bale of straw that we need to bring out here and scatter around in the floor in there and out here, because this is just a muddy mess. This weather has just been horrible. It's been rainy, it's been cold. We even had a little bit of flurries this morning, but so we got that taken care of. And I also shortened the run for the winter. They don't need to have this whole space, and it gives this section a chance to chill out and recover from what they've done over the year. Theoretically, I should do the same thing on the other side next year, but I'm probably not going to. So we just need to do some last minute cleanup in there, get stuff off the grass, put the cinder blocks away, things like that. But the other thing we did was over here at the rabbitry. You might notice that little black box right there. Because it's gotten so dark so early, it's been hard feeding these guys at night. So, we have put in a light, which doesn't do a whole lot right now, but it makes a huge difference when it's dark out. We are a little bit behind the times. We really need to go through all of the rabbits and get them sexed. We need to do that by this week because they are all old enough now that they could start breeding. And I like having baby bunnies. I don't need more baby bunnies. That's kind of all we got up to. It was like, what can we squeeze in really fast in between? Well, we still have daylight in between the million activities we've got to get done and the awful weather. So I'm going to get back into work. We'll see how things look in a couple of hours, if we can get out and plant the garlic or if that's got to wait till tomorrow. plan for cabbages is I'm just kind of breaking off all the, they're not inedible, but they're very stiff and coarse and not great for eating. Plus they're covering Lord knows what. I know I had a lot of slugs in that bed. So just pulling off those outer leaves. They're not going to waste. They're going in the compost. They're going to the rabbits. I'm sure the chickens by now are well into that bin and eating them up. And also, so you can see those leaves were hiding a lot of damage. Let me take off one more layer and see if that gets through that. And if not, yeah, no, that's gonna be there. So I've got a couple of piles going. This pile on the table, I'm doing an experiment with that I saw on another channel, another homesteading channel, that presumably if you wrap cabbages in plastic wrap and keep them somewhere cool, they will keep most of the winter. Now, she had a much better root cellar setup than I do. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put my cooler in the stairs under the bulkhead just outside. So it's still underground and protected from the snow. And hopefully the cooler will protect the stuff inside from freezing. I don't know if that'll work, but I have seen other people say use your basement steps as a root cellar. So we'll try it out, see how it goes. The ones like this that are too damaged to use all of, but there's a lot of it that's good, I'm putting in the sink. Because the other experiment I'm going to do, and I've wanted to do this one for a while, is canned coleslaw. There are a couple of recipes floating around for canning coleslaw without mayonnaise. I think it's a vinegar base that supposedly keeps crispy for a couple of years. I'm not a big coleslaw eater, but it is nice to have coleslaw when you want it, or, you know, if you're going to a potluck and you need a quick salad to take with you, something like that. So I'm gonna do some of this up. The stuff that is marginal, I'm gonna chop that up and turn that into coleslaw and maybe some sauerkraut. I'm not a big sauerkraut eater, so if I did it, I'd probably can it up in half pints. And I know canning it destroys the probiotic benefits of it, but again, because I don't eat it regularly and I don't have a good cold place to store it, it doesn't make sense for me to make it and keep it just in a crock. So I'll can it up and then have it if I want it for something. I've also made a South American sauerkraut called curtido, and I almost like that better than traditional sauerkraut, so we'll see what I end up doing. But let me get the rest of these cabbages cleaned up. This is what I get for leaving them out in the garden too long. They don't mind the frost, but there is a limit. traditional New England boiled dinner, because that's where my family heritage is from. And Irish colcannon, because you can't go wrong with potatoes and cabbage. The harvest this year I'm pretty pleased with. Despite the slug pressure, the cabbages at least seem to have done pretty well. I'm moving all of the brassicas to the other side of the garden next year. So hopefully they won't have as much slug pressure next year. But I'll also be a little more aggressive with slug traps. For those who don't know, the best way, apparently, to trap slugs is bowls of cheap beer, because slugs are apparently a cheap date. I can remember my mom buying 1 can of Budweiser every year just to put out in pie pans out in the garden. And we would love it because we would get some of those mini fruit pies for snacks just so she could have the pans to put the beer in to catch the slugs. Alright, let me go do the math and see how much cabbage I need to make that coleslaw, and then we'll start wrapping this stuff up. Well, good afternoon, just. It's another very breezy day today, but my time has gotten even more foreshortened. So we've got to ignore the wind and get some work done. I have to be in Ithaca tomorrow to pick up trees, which I ordered, but Ithaca is about 2 hours each direction. So I'll be gone most of the day getting those. And as I said, we're expecting snow Monday into Tuesday, and I've got obligations on Sunday, so this is it. This is the time. Yes, James is down guarding the car. So, Morgan's going to come out and help me. This looks like it's all died back pretty well. So that will all just break down once we get it mulched, and over the course of the winter as it gets wet and we have snowfall and snow melt and all of that. So to make things easier for both myself and for Morgan, I made planting templates. So this is a 1 foot by 1 foot square piece of cardboard, and I spaced the squares. Each are 3 inches from the edge of the cardboard on either side, so that it would fit a square foot garden planting. I think part of the reason my garlic did so well this year was that I had it really well spaced. The ones that did the most poorly were the ones that were closest to the edge that had the grass encroaching on it. So I'm hoping that by using this template, everything's going to be spread out a little more evenly and I'll have more consistent growth. I also think I did my math wrong, because somehow I was doing the math with 1 per square foot, and it's not 1 per square foot, it's 4 per square foot. So I think we might be doing just half of each bed in one of these varieties, and then we'll have the other half. I may get the garlic that's hanging up in the shed still and break that up, and we'll put that in and see if it does better, if it's got the better spacing. All right, so my helper is here. My other helper is ready to be unhelpful. He's been a menace all day. Hello, kitty. Say hello to the people. No, I don't want to. All right, we've got an hour. Let's see how fast we can get this stuff planted.
So it should be like this, right?
No, other way around.
Oh, I thought you said pointy end.
Pointy end up. Okay, have that for sale. But I think I'll have some that I can sell anyway. Are you doing those the right way up? Pointy side up?
You said pointy side down earlier.
No, 3 times. It's on camera. I said pointy side up.
I've been doing this entire bed wrong.
All right, well, we'll see what happens when you plate your garlic upside down.
Happy chickens.
Look at all the fluffy butts.
So the garlic is in. We did end up grabbing a bundle of the music garlic out of the shed and putting that in. So I think I figured out that's like 250 heads of garlic, which is definitely enough for our use. You guys can stay in there. They're all coming following me out. I've been trying to get them to go in and clean up the garden we tried doing it last year and they all panicked when we put them in there. So Morgan lured them in with some mealworms and they were having a good time in there. But I guess because I'm leaving, they think they can't be in there or something. I don't know. So that takes a lot of the pressure off me. The garlic is done. I do still want to get it mulched, but we're having 15 to 20 mile an hour winds right now. It's supposed to settle down overnight. We got rain coming in, so I think that's what's causing the wind, is just the storm blowing across. So I'll put that down tomorrow, either first thing in the morning or after I get back. There's no rush on doing that. And that's the garden. That's it for the garden. Just got to do a little cleanup, put some tools away, put the hoses away. Again, there's not a rush to do that. It's weird getting to a point where I don't have to be doing stuff outside all the time. It's a good thing since I don't have a lot of time to do stuff outside all the time, but it's that weird end of season feel. So that's going to wrap it up for me today. I have to go into town for a meeting tonight, so I won't be back out doing anything. And tomorrow's just driving, so when I get home, I'll show you the trees I got, because we do need to get those healed in, and we'll try and get some mulch down and get on with the week. So I made it back and promptly passed out because that was a long drive. But I came back. That bundle held 20 trees. So I've got 5 second-year hazels. It looks like it might be a little bit more than 5. And then 10 bur oaks. I don't have any oak trees on this property, which is kind of weird. I have a lot of maple trees, which is great. but it'd be nice to have the acorns. So I'm going to scatter those in up along the hill and see if I can get any of them to take up there. I don't have the time or the wherewithal right now to plant those. So what we did is what's called heeling in. So I just dug a hole and put them all in together and pressed down with my heel to compact them in. And then in the spring, these beds are going to be corn, so I've got a little extra time before I need to get into these beds. So as soon as it gets warm enough, we'll go out. The hazels I want to put along the stream bed, and then the bur oaks will go up on the hill. And I may go back in the spring and get some more trees. They have shipmast locusts, which are locust trees that grow super, super straight. And I was asking the guy today if you can pollard them, meaning basically cut them off about head height and have new branches grow up from those cuts. And he said, oh, absolutely, these are great trees for doing that. Because I don't need something that gets tall enough to be a shipmast, but these apparently grow super straight and make really good poles for doing fencing and things like that. So I think if I put a couple of those up in the marshy area, that might be a good use of that space. Oh, it looks like since I'm in here, a couple of the chickens have decided to brave it, and of course all the cats are in. We've got about an hour until sunset, so I want to get some of this mulching done. But the first thing I want to do is, you'll remember this bed is one of the ones that we didn't plant yesterday. And I said I was going to do an experiment. Well, I've got the experiment in this little jar right here. I had 2 bags of New York early onions seeds. So I've put them all in this jar with a shaker top, and I'm just going to scatter it across here, and we'll see what comes up next year. So let's get shaking and start doing science. garlic. Yeah. Psst. Get out of the garlic. Chicken. You're gonna end up in my pot if you keep that up. Get out of the garlic. Out of the garlic. Alright, so I mulched the garlic a lot heavier than I did the old potato beds, just because the garlic beds I'm not going to want to disturb come spring. So if this is heavy enough now, then I won't necessarily have to remulch it in the spring. That's all going to get turned in, and that hay should break down enough, I hope, over the winter so that when I turn it in, it's going to add good organic matter into the soil. Maybe not. Maybe it's just going to be more mulch. The chickens are not to be trusted in the garden, because every time I turned my back, they were right in this bed scratching around, no matter how many times I chased them out. So I finally had to close them all the way out of the garden. They've got this huge garden to dig around in. So where do they go? The garlic beds. You saw me fill these planters with hay. Those are a couple of fig trees that Steve's wife Julie gave me. And this is not the best area for figs, but there are a couple of varieties that will winter over with extra protection. Usually around here, people grow them in pots and take them like into their garage for the winter, or you can tip them over and bury them for the winter and then stand them back up. I'm gonna experiment with I put all that hay in there, so that should keep them warm, and the buckets will keep snow, especially for these ones, from falling off the roof and burying them and crushing them. And then in the spring, once it warms up enough, I can take those off and see if they're gonna grow for me. Again, I think I've got to get the hoses put away. That won't take very long. And I need to put 8 more of these posts up on the bed where the cabbage was and the celery was. Those are going to be my tomato beds next year. And then after that, I won't have to do any more with these posts, because that will be enough for my 3-year rotation. So the tomatoes will be there next year, and then back in these beds the following year, which is where I had them the first year I was here, and then they'll go back over there, and then they'll go back over there, and the cycle will continue. Will I cycle them out into that garden? I don't know. My intention for that garden was for that to be where I grow the stuff that I don't need to pay a lot of attention to. Tomatoes need a lot of attention. Peas, cucumbers, peppers all need a lot of attention. So those probably won't ever go out there. I might put brassicas out there over time. I could put root crops out there. But then that would mean moving some of that stuff in here, which is fine, except like the corn that's going to grow out there, and I'm going to have 4 beds of corn. If I put 4 beds of corn in here, that's going to take up a lot of space and potentially block a lot of sunlight. So, but of course, I'll need to cycle it through that bed, so I may have to do that anyway. Oh, the other thing I need to do is come out with some clippers and just take down all of the asparagus ferns just to tidy this up. So, not completely done, but done enough. If I didn't do anything else except putting the hoses away, because I want to protect the hoses at least one more season, I would be fine with this for this winter. If not, if I do get out here and do a little bit more cleanup, like cut down the dead pepper plants and cut down the dead tomato plants, that would be great, but I'm not going to kick myself if I don't. Sun setting. Not much of a sunset tonight, but it's still nice. The chickens should be going to bed soon, so I'm going to go check them for eggs and put the rabbits away and go in and make dinner. I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful week next week. And I hope you'll come back and see what we get up to next. Good night, everybody.